What's going on, y'all? So I want to get on here right quick and just say this. This is for the women, and especially the women of Israel, because we the ones that got the problem. We're the ones that got caught up in the whole stigma of not needing a man, not wanting a man. We can do everything by our daggone self. You had one bad apple out of the tree, and you took that and ran with it. Let me just let you know this. Every man is not the same. It's about to come a time real soon that taking your clothes off, twerking, is not gonna get you money, but it's gonna get you raped and it's gonna get you killed. Because these people that they got waiting to come take over in these cities for a reason is not gonna play with you, and nobody's gonna be there to help you. It's gonna come a time that you're gonna have to stop disrespecting your husband and disrespecting your man, especially the righteous one. Because you don't need them. Because what you gonna do? You can't get out there and fight against another man. It's gonna be thousands of them. You can't get out there and go look for no food when you need it. What you gonna do? Medicine, all types of stuff. But y'all steadily disrespecting the man. And guess what? The scripture teaches that it's God first, the man, then the woman. We are not equal to men. We're not equal. Y'all need to face that up and realize that. And if you got a problem with me saying that, then you got a problem with the Most High. And that's something that you're going to be judged for. So don't come for me and don't get mad at me because I'm only saying facts. Y'all need to stop all this twerking, because it's going to come a day that twerking is not going to fill your stomach up. Lights going to be off, gas going to be off, you're going to be off the grid. What y'all going to do? No internet, no phone, none of that. What you gonna figure out? You're gonna be in the house alone with kids, crying and begging and wish that you had a righteous man at that time, because that's the only man that the Most High is gonna care for and is gonna help and get him through these times. I'm just being authentic. I am being transparent, and I am being real. These are facts. This is prophecy. Y'all need to stop disrespecting men. Y'all need to stop talking about this frivolous stuff about money, clothes, cars. All that shit is about to be done away with. It's about to be done away with. It's going to come a time where y'all ain't even going to be worried about how many women a man got, because you're going to be trying to hold on to that man because you're going to need help. And that's real. And if you don't believe me, you better open up your Holy Bible. King James Version, if you ain't open it up one. And if you don't got one, you better go buy one. Because these words is about to disappear. And the word is going to disappear. And y'all going to be thirsty and hungry for it. And ain't nobody going to be talking about it, because you ain't going to be able to find nobody with it. So you better wake up and get right. And stop all this nonsense, because it ain't getting you nowhere but to death.
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving our praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, featured this clip, from the other day. And I'm just going to entitle this lesson, Very Few Women Will Get It. She's just one of very few, women, very few sisters that actually understand the time that we're living in and understand that, we're in the midst, or not in the midst, but, Jacob's trouble is vastly approaching, So she understands that, it is extremely important for, women to get in order, because I'm about to come into a very, very serious and dangerous time. So I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, straight to the point. I'm going to start in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30. I'm going to start at verse 6. And it says, Ask ye now, and see whether doth a man travail child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And yes, that's pretty much, what this sister was going into, informing these women to get their shit together, because that's the time that we're about to come into, the time of Jacob's trouble. It's going to be an extremely terrible time, a time, that was never seen, upon this earth. And I'm going to bring it out while I mention it, the book of Daniel, chapter 12, and verse 1. It says, and again, the headline reads, the time of the end. That's the time that we're in. We're in the end. We're in the last days, the last of the last days. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 12, and verse 1. And it says, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall come, it's like it, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as was never since there was a nation, even to that same time. At that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And yes, that's going into the elect. It's like the he that should be saved out of Jacob's trouble, that's going into the elect of the nation of Israel, you know. So it's somewhat going to be a twofold lesson, about the elect being delivered, pretty much about women getting, in order. So I'm going to go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 32, and I'm going to start at verse 9. And it says, rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. And yes, pretty much the modern woman, primarily so-called black women, they're at ease because this system is pretty much catering to them. This system was set up for them to pretty much have easy lives. Is the reason why, women get, child support, WIC, EBT, Section 8, excuse me, Slocky, and among other things, they're pretty much careless because this system is taking care of them. But meanwhile, that sister was pretty much giving them a warning, and as she should, give them a warning of the times that we're about to come into. She's letting them know that, you know what I'm saying, that they should cover themselves up, that they shouldn't be doing, that provocative thing that they do, shaking their ass everywhere they go. Because ultimately, that's not going to, help you survive. That's actually going to be, detrimental, you know, getting, you know, sluggy. I'm getting tripped up in my words a little bit, but pretty much, you know what I'm saying? These women that do this, that's ultimately going to be their downfall, because they don't understand that them doing this is pretty much, going to lead to their death. So I'm going to go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, and verse 12. And again, she even mentioned, how these women out here, they're going to be looking for men, and not just any man, but men of the Lord. There's the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, and verse 12, and it says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. And yes, the Lord is going to raise his men up in these last days. And pretty much those men are going to be the very same men that these women are going to look for to help them, to protect them in a time of trouble, you know? And then she also pretty much mentioned this scripture without even having to say it, the book of Isaiah, chapter 4 and verse 1. And it says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by their name to take away our reproach. And yes, she even mentioned this, that these women are going to be worried about how many women a man has, just as long as she can be joined to that man. You know, like it says, that's what a lot of these women are going to do. They're going to have, they're going to share one man, you know, one man. And the number 7 is just completion because a man can have, who knows how many wives during that particular time. Now, in this time, before, all hell breaks loose. Now, if a man has multiple wives, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the time to be adding wives onto yourselves because you still have to take care of these women, you know? But again, that's what she's pretty much mentioning, that during that time, women are pretty much going to get themselves in order once all hell breaks loose, they're going to be looking for a man to keep them safe, a man to protect them during this time, because it's going to be a very, very serious time upon this earth. So I'm going to go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 9 and verse 13. And pretty much this is the type of woman that she's addressing, you know. And it says, Proverbs 9 and 13, a foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. And that's who she is addressing. These simple women out here that do these things, you know, that are pretty much bringing shame upon themselves and their families, you know, because primarily the so-called black woman and this entire lesson isn't about black women, just women in general, or the Israelite woman, you know, the women of the other nations, you know, they don't matter. But pretty much she is addressing the women of our nation and letting them know that, you know what I'm saying, that to get themselves in order, because the things that they're doing is going to ultimately lead to their death, you know. She says, what are they going to do in that time? You know, and it also mentions that, you know, these women, they're going to be hungry, and they are. It's going to be a famine, you know, in the land, a famine of bread and water, but there's also going to be a famine of the word as well. And I'm going to get to that in a second. So when it comes to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and I'm going to start at 56. Slovakia. Yeah, 56. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 56, and it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for one of all things secretly in the siege and straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. And yes, this is a curse because it's pretty much took place during 70 AD, you know, when our people, you know, were chased out of Jerusalem, but those that stayed, they pretty much were destroyed, you know, because the Romans surround Jerusalem so that nothing can get in and nothing can get out, you know, and there was a famine and our people were forced to eat whatever they could get. And one of those main things being their own children, you know. And there's a count in the scriptures, you know. I'm not going to get it, but, you know, pretty much a woman made a deal with another woman to eat her son. They ate the one woman's son. And the other woman went to her and said, okay, we're going to eat your son now. She hid her son, you know. That's pretty much what's going to take place during this time, you know. It's going to be that serious. People are going to be eating each other, you know, because it's going to be a famine that pretty much already is, you know, because there's still, you know, food shortages, you know, these food processing plants, you know, have been burned down, you know, livestock being killed, you know, the water being contaminated by these so-called chemical spills, you know. But again, these women, they aren't paying attention to that. No, no, the saying girls just want to have fun. That's all they want to do. But they don't realize that danger is on the way, you know. So I'm going to go to the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28. And it says, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And upon Slakia, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids. In those days I will pour out my spirit. Now, I'm not saying that that woman is a prophet because it's not a woman's lot to be a prophet or to prophesy, but that's pretty much what she did. She was prophesying to these other women to let them know to get themselves in order because, again, danger is on the way. The time of Jacob's trouble is coming. You know, she's given them that warning to get themselves in order. Otherwise, they're going to be destroyed ultimately. But again, like I said, only very few are going to get it. So I'm going to go to the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, and verse 2. And it says, "For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and to the city, Slakia, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city." And yes, that's what's coming. People are going to be hauled off to concentration camps. It's like the apostles and elders of Great Millstone have been talking about for years. This is a real thing. There's plenty of evidence out there of what they're doing with these empty buildings, primarily empty Walmarts. That's why you have a lot of these big box stores closing down, because they're going to convert them into FEMA camps or concentration camps, whatever you want to call them. Pretty much these prisons, where they're going to house people. Then again, says women are going to be ravished. So we're going to look up that word, you know, because again, you still have men out there that get offended by this particular doctrine, the law. But this is the thing that's going to take place. This is the word ravished, the blue letter.
Strong's H 7693. Shagal. Shagal.
Shigel, in the outline of biblical usage, and it says to violate, ravish, to violate, ravish, to be ravished. Again, to be ravished. So again, we're just going to look that up in the NLT. I'm going to read it again. The book of Zechariah, chapter 14, and verse 2 in the NLT. "I will gather all nations to fight against Jerusalem. The city will be taken, the houses looted, and the women raped. Half of the population will be taken into captivity, and the rest will be left upon the ruins of the city." And again, you can't make it any plainer than that. It's telling you what's going to happen to these women out here that aren't in order, you know, because any women that the Lord isn't dealing with, that they don't pair with a man of the Lord, this is what's going to happen to them. They're going to be ravished. They're going to be taken by force, because once America is invaded, by these foreign troops, the only thing they're coming over here to do is destroy, to kill. That's their only goal. That's the only mission, is to kill everybody they see. So again, that sister, she was issuing that warning to these other women, but they're not going to hearken. Only a very few are going to get it. So I'm going to go to the book of Titus, chapter 2, and verse 3. And it says, "The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they should, it's like that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed." And yes, this is what this woman was doing. She's trying to teach these women, primarily these young women, about what they should be doing, and what is a very serious thing. Only very few women get it. She's one of those sisters that get it. She understands. And if she is, may the Lord have mercy on her. Because again, she sees, she knows what's going to take place. She knows she's going to need a man of the Lord to keep her safe in the time to come, because it's going to be extremely serious. So I'm going to go to the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16, and verse 33. And it says, "The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of the famine." And yes, this was going to happen to a lot of men. During that time, a lot of men are going to die, leaving a lot of women helpless. It's the reason why a lot of women are going to be taken by force, forced against their will, because again, you write it in the NLT, Zechariah 14:2, women are going to be taken, because women and children, they're spoils of war. And that's the time that we're in. We're in the midst of war, you know. It's extremely serious. That she also mentioned, about there being a famine of the word. And yes, that's going to come as well. We're in the midst of that, as we speak, because again, out here in Michigan, they pretty much passed a law that you can pretty much get jail time if you offend someone. So again, the famine of the word is coming. So those that don't get this word while they have a chance, they're not going to get it. You know, it's serious. It's a very serious thing. So this is the book of Amos, chapter 8 and verse 11. And it says, Behold, the day is come, saith the Lord of power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst, but of the hearing of the words of the Lord. And yes, that's what's going to come. And it's, it's like, I'm going to continue. Verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. And yes, that's what's going to come. So the people that don't take this word serious now, they're not going to get it. It's going to be too late, because really only a remnant of the nation of Israel is going to get this word and understand it and get themselves in order, because the Lord is getting ready to visit the earth again, in a major way. But those of our people that don't take this truth seriously, primarily those that, walk by the camps while the word is coming out, that fan their hand or just walk right by, that pretty much don't give, or take heed to the message, they're going to be taken, you know, they're going to feel bad. They're going to try to look for the prophets. They're going to try to look for the videos, but they won't be able to find it because the Lord is going to shut the mouth of his prophets. Then I'm going to end it on this because, again, this is really who it's all about. This is the book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. And yes, only the elect of the nation of Israel are going to get this word, turn from their ways, turn from the ways of this world, come back to our heritage of being, Hebrew Israelites, and, try to walk that straight and narrow path. But the rest of our people, they're blinded, and ultimately they're going to be destroyed because they're willingly ignorant, you know. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. To the next time I say Shalom.